You know what? Screw this. If I'm gonna talk about films that pissed me off, I'm gonna get comfortable. I really wanted to make a tribute for this video. It makes my job easier. Kind of. But then I realized why it's called a tribute, and you can't tribute bad movies. It's just not right. Just like any other year, 2012 brought us a plethora of shitty movies. But out of all of them, these 10 pissed me off more than anything, and I cannot get them out of my head. They were unforgettable, shitty movies. That is why they're on here. Starting us off at number 10 is Snow White and the Huntsman. Mix Pan's Labyrinth and any daytime soap opera with the Snow White lore, and you come out with this unnecessary attempt to start a franchise. Stewart is one-dimensional with stilted line deliveries, Hemsworth is thrown in simply to draw in a bigger audience, and Charlize Theron is just way too over the top as the evil witch, or queen, or whatever the hell she is. There is a heavy emphasis on the visuals, which at times are pretty spectacular, but they can't save this redundant, albeit tonally different film. Coming in at number 9 is Mirror, Mirror. I didn't plan on having these two butt up against one another, but life is full of surprises. One of them being two crappy Snow White films in the same year. Julia Roberts is only in this for the paycheck, and while Lily Collins is attractive, she cannot act herself out of a wet paper bag. And need I mention the scene where Armie Hammer drinks a puppy love potion? That's just messed up. Falling in at number 8 is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I had high hopes for this movie. It had the potential to be a pulse-pounding, or should I say deadening, stylized action thriller. Unfortunately though, director Timur Bekmambetov allows his style to intrude on the story, giving us subpar lazy action scenes that are rife with CGI. And not the best CGI, mind you. At number 7 we have Coriolanus. Ralph Fiennes is one of the great actors working today, but his directorial debut is anything but that. Alongside a lackluster narrative is some pretty hideous camera work and editing. I'm not at all against him directing again, but may I recommend something non-Shakespearean. Coming in at number 6 is Underworld Awakening. While it is true that I have not seen the previous 3 films, I can't say it would have helped. Kate Beckinsale is a one-note machine and seems to have that same dumb look on her face in every movie she's in. You think Lautner took notes from her? The plot is only strong enough for an hour-long TV show, and the action is very video game-esque. Kind of like another movie she was in that wasn't very good either. At number 5 is The Lorax. This is one of the most depressing kids movies I have ever seen. There are far better ways to get across the idea that cutting down trees is unhealthy. Too many ear-numbing music numbers, a cheesy run-of-the-mill romance, and a villain who's just plain laughable. That haircut did not help in the slightest. Rolling in at number 4 is Journey to the Mysterious Island. I am surprised this thing even made it to the theaters. It should have been a straight-to-DVD release. Everyone present is wasted, including those who really can't act in the first place. Featuring one of the most obvious and contrived setups for a romance ever. And a few one-liners that'll make you cringe more than most horror films do. If you see a copy, burn it. Alright, top 3. This is where it gets juicy. Number 3, The Hunger Games. A lot of you disagree with me on this one, and that's fine. But the fact is, this movie features some of the most nauseating camera work and editing I have ever seen, period. I couldn't have cared less about any of the characters even if I'd tried. One of the worst on-screen romances in motion picture history, also including Josh Hutcherson. Man, that guy gets around. Featuring a plot involving a young adult forced to pay the price for something the elder generation did. Are we sure this film isn't based on current events? Almost making it to the number 1 spot, but just missing it is number 2, That's My Boy. Adam Sandler has made a career out of making bad movies, but That's My Boy takes the cake and eats it too. The fact that movies like this are made, let alone even considered, just goes to prove that it really isn't all that difficult to make it in the film business. I probably just jinxed myself, didn't I? Shit. Andy Samberg is not in this film, rather his clone is, as someone as talented and loved as Samberg wouldn't dare get involved in such an atrocity to be. I would say that it gets better once the film ends and the credits start to roll, but it's just too depressing to see just how many people devoted their time to making this thing. Sandler, on behalf of the film community, stop. Just stop. You're better off in animation, or we can't see your face. And bring us home to the bottom of the barrel. The worst movie of 2012 is The Deep Blue. Both Tom Hiddleston and Rachel Weisz are fine actors, but they've got nothing to do here. This film is, in essence, a visual sedative. Nowadays, when patients are being prepped for surgery, instead of being injected with anesthesia, they should just be shown a 10-second clip of this film. They'll be out like a light. What makes this the worst film of the year for me is the fact that during my viewing of it, I actually debated in my head as to whether or not I should take a nap during the film. I legitimately had a debate in my head. Should I nap or not? I would have forfeited the right to review the film had I done so, so I opted to stay awake. Do my best to. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm showing a film of mine at a film festival somewhere down the road, I would rather have someone deliberately walk out of the theater letting me, the filmmaker, know that they did not like it, rather than have someone in their chair snoring with me under the impression that they were actually watching the film and hopefully enjoying it. The Deep Blue Sea. One of the dullest movies ever made. Ever. It's not Spy Kids 4. In fact, there's really no comparison. But out of all the films I saw this year, it's the worst one. And that concludes this year in film. Not the year we needed, but the one we deserved. I hope you had a great 2012. No doubt you had your ups and downs, but hopefully the ups outweighed the downs. Let me know down below what your least favorite films of the year were, and I will see you next year. Thanks for tuning in, as always.